Hello, people of the internet, this is Kaiju Noir here with a review for Deep Sea Monster Raiga, the sequel to Deep Sea Monster Raigo vs. Battleship Yamato. When I first learned of a sequel to Raigo, I was curious as to what it would be about, and after seeing the design of the new monster Raiga, I became pretty excited. Then I saw the trailer and started to worry. I was confounded by its campy tone and overly happy J-pop playing in the background, which clashed with the impressive kaiju action. Finally, after seeing the film, I can now say that when compared to its predecessor, it takes one step forward and two steps back. The story takes place in modern-day Japan and starts with a short fight between our new monster Raiga, an evolved descendant of Raigo, and a giant version of the bonefish from the previous film. Afterwards, we then move to the city where our protagonist, Hajime Ito, runs a small business in Asakusa with his three daughters who berate him for constantly seeing a particular woman. All is peaceful until Raiga shows up and ravages through the city. Moments later, the military shows up and are led by a crazed eye-patch-wearing general, who is played by the same actor who played another crazy eye-patch-wearing general in Raigo. Perhaps his grandson? After defeating Raiga, Hajime and his daughters start making money off the sales of Raiga's merchandise made by them. However, Raiga returns stronger than ever, so the father and his two friends have to keep his daughters and his girlfriend safe while the crazed general tries again to defeat Raiga. The overall story is pretty much your standard monster runs amok while people try to survive plotline, with no major surprises, though the ending did felt very Deus Ex Machina. This is somewhat of a downgrade, as the previous film had a pretty original plot, involving the World War II Navy out at sea, going up against incredible odds. The biggest change from the last film, besides the time period and location, is the tone, which has gone from serious to more lighthearted. Because of this lighthearted tone, the film is treated more as a comedy. However, the only things I found funny was Hajime, played by a returning Yukijiro Hotaru, and his two pals. One funny scene in particular involved a couple of Americans mistaking Raiga for Godzilla, to which our protagonists correct them, probably so that the filmmakers won't get sued. Unfortunately, the rest of the characters are mostly loud, annoying, or superfluous. Hajime and his friends, like I said before, are the only characters who I actually found funny, as you can get a sense of the friendship between them in their scenes. In fact, I would have liked it if the movie had been about them surviving a monster attack and getting into crazy antics, kinda like a giant monster version of The Hangover. The general is really loud and obnoxious, which is funny at first, but gets old by the second half of the film. There was also a group of characters that hang out in a sauna, or are just there to let the audience know that the movie takes place in the same universe as Raigo, since one of them knew someone who was on the Yamato. These characters do not leave any sort of impact on the plot and could have easily been cut out of the film altogether. My biggest problem comes from the three daughters. They were constantly whiny, moody, and in some cases dumb to the point of acting like they had a mental illness. At first I couldn't pinpoint exactly what made their behavior so familiar, until I realized they were acting like anime characters. On multiple occasions, I have noticed characters in certain anime, usually high school teenagers, act like kids with over-exaggerated emotions and expressions. While that sort of behavior may work in animation, it just looks kinda weird and awkward when translated to live action. What annoyed me the most was how they and several other annoying teenagers were constantly criticizing their father for seeing his love interest and later for trying to rescue her. It said in the film that the mother had passed away, so why can't he see another woman? While I can get that it's important to stick with your kids, but what's so wrong with trying to rescue the person you care about in the middle of a giant monster attack? Every time they were on screen, I wish that Raiga would step on them or electrocute them, which sadly never happened. On the special effects side of things, it does not disappoint. You've got a monster rampaging through the city, the military using everything they've got, and a super weapon that in a way pays homage to the Super X's from the Godzilla films. The special effects this time around are vastly superior to the effects in Raigo in every way. The CGI rendered lightning, explosions, rubble, and debris are all well done. The models are also solid, if a little simplistic. The bonefish look just as cool as they did in the first film. However, like the first film, they are never addressed nor dealt with after their first few scenes on screen. The Raiga suit looked great despite being a little stiff in the head and neck area, and looking like Godzilla with Raigo's blue skin and spines. The use of the three primary colors make him visually appealing, and his claws remind me of one of my favorite dinosaurs, the Therizinosaurus. I also liked its many uses of lightning, which include but not limited to projecting it from its hands, Street Fighter style, summoning it from the sky to either re-energize itself or devastate its opponents, and using it as the classic beam attack that most Japanese monsters are known for. It's also interesting to note that Raiga's lightning seems to change color as it becomes stronger, as it starts off blue, then ends up being red. The one thing I did not like when it came to the special effects was the lighting during the night scenes, as there was always a shade of bright green or pink in every scene. This was probably because it took place in a neon-lit city, or it was there to lighten the mood. However, it just came off as nauseating after a while. Deep Sea Monster Raiga was a bit of a disappointment for me. I could really get behind a monster movie that focused on the growing bond between a father and his daughters as they tried to survive a disaster, but I felt that the execution was handled poorly. The special effects are great for the most part, and were a major improvement over Raigo. Had the film had a tighter plot with more likable and better developed characters, it would have easily have gotten a 4, but unfortunately I will be giving it a 3 out of 5. In the end, Deep Sea Monster Raigo came off as a decent and entertaining film, just not one that I would go back to very often. If you are interested in seeing this film, please refer back to the link from my Raigo review. So until next time everybody, take care.